Have you ever opened your mobile banking app, looked at your balance, and instantly felt like all your hard work was leading nowhere, even after working, saving, and starting to invest? Then you open social media and see people buying homes, new cars, or traveling overseas, and within seconds you feel behind without knowing their real financial situation. Many people stop trying not because they fail to build wealth, but because they keep searching for proof of progress in the wrong place. We often treat a bank balance as the only measure of financial success, even though it reflects today instead of the foundation being built for the next 5 or 10 years. What if you are already becoming wealthier without realizing it? Not because your money suddenly looks larger, but because the biggest changes are happening behind the scenes. There is a stage that nearly everyone passes through before reaching financial freedom, yet it often feels slow, boring, and easy to mistake for failure. Welcome to the margin, where we explore not only money, but also the psychology, habits, and systems quietly shaping everyday financial life. Today, we will explore 5 signs that you may already be moving toward wealth through a concept I call the invisible progress bridge, because wealth always grows quietly before the world can see it. A skyscraper stands because of the foundation buried beneath it, not because of the glass that everyone notices at the top. Building wealth follows a similar pattern because most of the progress happens long before it appears inside a bank, account, or investment portfolio. I call this process the invisible progress bridge, connecting today's small changes to future financial freedom. Many people stop walking halfway across because they mistake invisible progress for no progress at all. That is why 2 people earning the same income can quietly end up on completely different financial paths. Wealth is shaped by psychology, patience, and delayed gratification just as much as it is shaped by arithmetic. The biggest progress often feels the most ordinary because it comes without applause, recognition, or dramatic change. Yet, it is during those quiet periods that small habits begin reinforcing one another until momentum quietly grows. Before we look at the 5 signs, remember not to mistake invisible progress for failure. People closest to the finish line often believe they are still far away, and the first sign explains why. The first sign you're getting richer is that you slowly stop comparing your life with other people's, and your attention begins shifting from appearances to real progress. Other people's success may have once felt threatening, but now you notice that every financial journey begins with different opportunities, challenges, and starting points. That shift may look small, but it redirects the energy once spent on envy toward building yourself instead. The second sign is that you begin buying things for their usefulness instead of for other people's approval. Before spending money, you start asking a different question. Does this improve your life or only make you look more successful? That simple question can stop many impulsive decisions, and the best financial choice is often the one nobody else ever notices. This is where your identity begins changing because you stop chasing the image of being rich and start forming the habits of someone who may become wealthy. Identity changes before bank balances do, which is why many people never realize they have already begun making progress. These first 2 signs may not increase your bank balance overnight, but they gradually change how money moves through your life over many years. The next change is even more unexpected because there comes a moment when your finances begin feeling almost boring. The third sign may sound unusual, but when your financial life starts feeling boring, it is often a positive change. End-of-month panic fades away and you stop waiting for payday or unexpected money to rescue your budget. Saving, investing, and paying bills gradually become automatic habits instead of daily financial struggles. James Clear explained in Atomic Habits that the goal of good habits is making the right actions feel normal, and personal finance works the same way. Once the system takes over, impulsive purchases and emotional spending lose the excitement they once created. Ironically, that quiet sense of stability is exactly what many people have been searching for all along. Many people think they have lost motivation when they have really just left constant financial chaos behind. If your financial days feel quieter now, it may simply mean the system is doing more of the work than you notice. Healthy finances rarely create dramatic stories because they simply keep moving forward month after month. As financial life becomes calmer, the way you think about time begins to change as well. The fourth sign is that you begin valuing your time more than the things you can buy, and that shift often appears when your relationship with money becomes healthier. You may have once asked whether you could afford something, but now the question becomes whether it deserves your time. That change in thinking reshapes financial decisions because every purchase is also measured by the working hours behind it. Many financially successful people carefully protect their schedules, and Warren Buffett is well known for keeping enough open time to think clearly. The lesson is not about copying his lifestyle, but about recognizing that time cannot be invested again once it is gone. As you value time more, you also begin avoiding things that create extra maintenance, repairs, or monthly payments. Gradually, your money begins buying breathing room instead of more possessions, and that space often matters more than extra storage. This is one of the changes that other people rarely notice, even though its effect can last for decades. You may not feel wealthy yet, but your thinking is beginning to move in the same direction as people who build long-term wealth. The final change may be the most important because it shapes what your life could look like 10 years from now. You begin thinking in 10-year time horizons instead of the next 10 days, and the future no longer feels too distant to prepare for. You start recognizing that a small decision today can create a much larger impact than a big decision made too late. Investing no longer feels slow because you begin seeing time as the best partner of compounding. Many successful investors are not defined by choosing the perfect asset, but by staying invested long enough for time to do its work. The same pattern appears in careers, relationships, health, and wealth, where consistency matters more than brief bursts of effort. As your thinking becomes more long-term, the fear of falling behind gradually begins to fade away. At that point, comparing your progress with other people starts becoming much less meaningful because you are no longer in the same race. Other people may chase quick visible wins while you quietly build progress that may not be seen for years. Your bank account may not make you feel wealthy yet, but the foundation you are building is already stronger than it appears. So how do all these signs come together into one bigger picture of real wealth? After seeing these 5 signs, you may realize the problem was never a lack of progress, but the way you were measuring wealth. We live in a world where salaries, cars, homes, and account balances are easier to notice than discipline, patience, or self-control. Almost everything meaningful grows slowly, just like a tree that takes years before its full height becomes visible. The period when you doubt yourself the most is often the same period when your foundation is becoming the strongest. Many people quit because they believe nothing is changing, even though the visible stage has simply not arrived yet. They change strategies, stop investing, or return to old habits because patience runs out before the system does. Meanwhile, those who keep going eventually benefit from small decisions that once seemed repetitive and ordinary. The invisible progress bridge is simply about trusting a process even when the results remain quiet. One day, other people may only notice the outcome without seeing the thousands of small choices behind it. Real wealth often looks sudden from the outside, even though it has been developing quietly for years. Small changes are often overlooked because their impact is barely noticeable today, while time quietly magnifies consistent decisions. One wise decision may not change your life this week, but 100 wise decisions often look very different after several years. The same pattern appears in personal finance, where saving regularly, investing consistently, and avoiding unnecessary debt seem ordinary until the results gradually become visible. That is where compounding extends beyond money, because repeated good decisions gradually strengthen character as well. Over time, your identity changes, and managing money no longer feels like something you are trying to become. Once identity shifts, many good financial decisions begin to feel natural instead of requiring the same level of discipline as before. This kind of progress is rarely displayed on social media, even though it is often the hardest kind to take away later. Wealth is not only a number that rises and falls, but also the ability to keep making sound decisions through changing conditions. If the biggest results are still missing today, it does not necessarily mean that nothing is developing beneath the surface. That is why the path toward wealth often feels quiet, because compounding usually begins long before it becomes obvious. If you don't feel wealthy today, don't assume your effort has been wasted because you may simply be in the stage where progress is still invisible. Your bank balance reflects decisions from the past, while your future is being shaped by the decisions you make today. Don't measure your journey only by numbers but also by the way you're thinking, habits, and relationship with money continue to change. In the end, wealth is not only about owning more but about having greater control over your own life. If you enjoy conversations like this, consider subscribing because The Margin explores money as a way to better understand modern life with calm analysis. Hopefully after this video you won't dismiss the small wins you continue building every single day. Which of the 5 signs feels most familiar in your life, or is there another sign that has made you realize you're making financial progress? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video here on The Margin.